tip.
Good afternoon. It is January 11th, 2018. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
Happy New Year, Will. How is 2018 treating you?
So far, so good. A little delayed on the podcast. We're about 11 days behind. First one of the new year. But I got new things. We got new toys. We got new gadgets. We got new stuff. New stuff's always... New is always better, right? Didn't we say... We claimed that. That sounds like something we said here.
I don't remember if I was on that side or not. I don't want to look like an idiot and have someone go back and say, "Oh no, Zach, you didn't say that."
New is always better. All right, so new is not necessarily always better, but we do have a new. I have a new website for the real estate stuff. It's going to connect with the podcast. It's all up there. Check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs, as well as you want to stay up to date with the podcast. We will still have the other website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. So check us out on there. You can also follow Zach on his Twitter name, which is
WickedZman24.
But now that we got all the promo stuff out of the way, let's get into the stuff we really want to talk about. 2018. We got a whole bunch of new stuff here. Weed is now legal in California. We have colleges just declaring themselves national champions when they're not even in the national championship game. And we have referees who need referees to officiate them. But you know what? Let's get started right with that right there. Let's talk some NFL. A lot of drama over the weekend. Maybe it's just me, but it did not feel like playoff football. It felt like a week 18 of some amateur garbage teams playing. Maybe I'm being too harsh. What did you think? Were these quality games or just close competitive games?
I think that we're getting spoiled. I think we're getting spoiled in the sports world, and I think that being able to talk to everybody in the world so quickly and Twitter really forces this. But the last college football game, Clemson wins literally the last second. This game this year was a little slow at the beginning, but then Alabama makes a crazy comeback. It goes into overtime, awesome game. Super Bowl, there's a crazy comeback. And so we've been able to have these awesome games that now when we just have kind of regular ho-hum kind of games, we just absolutely destroy it. It's like all the games can't be these awesome, epic games. We're going to have games that are they're fine. It's still football. It's still fun, but they're not going to be at that, max 10 level.
I mean, all right, they didn't feel like playoff games, though. There was a lot of penalties. It felt like a lot of teams were making mistakes. It didn't feel as important or as relevant to these teams. They didn't seem prepared for it. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I didn't like the outcome of a lot of the games. I thought there was a lot of really poor officiating, some of which I noticed live and some of which I just found out in the rewrites right now. Apparently the NFL is having a lot of problems. I just thought it was a poorly played game between two bad teams. The Tennessee game that they muscle out a win, crazy comeback, but they missed a lot of calls.
One of the issues too is there's not a ton of quality quarterbacks, especially in these rounds here. You got Blake Bortles, who ran for more yards than he passed. You got Alex Smith, I guess he's fine, but no one's saying, "Oh yeah, I'd love to have Alex Smith on my team. He's great." It's just always like, well, he's a game manager. He probably won't lose you the game. Mariota's still young. He's doing the best he can. He's been kind of banged up all year. That's one of the guys I think you were very high on going into the year because I followed behind. It's like, Will probably knows about this and drafted him in a couple of fantasy football leagues. And yeah, that didn't work out so well for me.
It never came through.
Because the most exciting game was the Carolina New Orleans game because you have Drew Brees and Cam Newton who are like, oh yeah, those guys are good. They're good at football. And I think it might not be so much the teams overall so much as just the quarterback position specific.
So how do we fix that? Well, because we got more playoff football coming, and you're telling me we don't have any good quarterbacks.
I'm not saying we don't have any. I'm just saying in that last round.
Well, how are these teams making
round,
it?
Case Keenum, who, unless he turns into a pumpkin, he's been playing well this year. We're gonna have we'll have Drew Brees again. Gonna have Tom Brady in the mix. Not so sure about the Eagles situation. That's unfortunate. But yeah, we've had a couple of injuries to. Deshaun Watson was doing awesome. Setting records, setting the league on fire, and then he tears his ACL in practice, which is just unfortunate. And that's kind of part of the game. Is just guys get hurt.
All right, so being hurt is part of the game. I think that's never going to go away. What are your thoughts on the referee things? Do we really need to address some of these, or did they just have a bad day? Was that just a bad day? Players have bad days. We have bad days. We make mistakes. I get it, but it felt like all three of them in the one game made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and that's always tricky because I always kind of think of referees. It's almost like the playing field. Sometimes the fields are better than others, but everyone's playing with the same referees. So if the referees are subpar, it's probably going to equal out in the long run. And it's one thing if a guy misses a call, that's kind of like a in between. Was it or even more of a judgment call? All right, was it pass interference? Was it not? Where their legs get tangled up? Was it on purpose? That could be hit or miss. But the specific one that I'm thinking of was when they missed that 10-second runoff, where they got it right because it's not like the referees in the booth or the alternate referees, or I'm not sure exactly how that worked, got a hold of them. We're like, hey, no, you got to have this going. And that just seemed like a very basic rule that you can't forget that one. That's a procedural thing. That's something you miss. You almost miss.
Not at that time either.
That.
This is crunch time right now. Each team, this is their whole season on the line. There's only so much time left. This is the play of the game here. And it just felt so unorganized. Nobody knew what was going on. I don't know if it necessarily dictated the outcome, but it just felt like it threw off the flow of the game, and it was something that nobody practiced for. Maybe that's fair, maybe that's not. It is what it is. I don't know. Do you think the better team still won? Was Tennessee still the better team?
I think the Chiefs were better. But once blanking on the tight end,
Kelsey went out.
Well, yeah. Once Travis Kelsey got hurt, that seemed to kind of really turn the game, which was unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, one more playoff run for Andy Reid and one more playoff disappointment. And I will say the same thing with Alex Smith. Is it the pairing of them, or do these two just don't have what it takes to get it done at the end of the day? It feels like they're missing some sort of element of just making a play. That's all it would take. One play would win you this game.
I saw some sort of stat that was when a team has blown a 20 or a 21 point lead in the playoffs, it's either happened 3 or 4 times. 2 of the times it's been Andy Reid. So Andy Reid has half of the times that a lead has been blown.
I just that can't be a coincidence. There has to be some sort of pattern there. The only thing that I don't get is how does this guy make the playoffs every year? It feels like he's in every year for any team. He was there at the conference finals every year with Philadelphia, and they had a very strong team each time. They made it to the Super Bowl once. They lost to the Patriots. And I don't know whether to give this guy credit or not. Who wants the resume from this guy that says, yeah, I almost get there every time?
It's one of those, regular season versus the playoffs. In the playoffs, everything gets a lot harder, and you got to manage the time better. You got to manage the plays better. Everything ratchets up in difficulty.
All right, I want to talk some college football, but real quick, who is the Kansas City quarterback next year? Is it going to be Alex Smith, or are they going to move on to someone else?
I think it's going to be Alex Smith. I don't know the cap implications so much, but one of the things that's super easy to say, oh, blow that team up, oh, get rid of that quarterback, he's awful, but you got to get somebody else there. So look at a bunch of other teams that have struggled this year that would love to have just, say, an average quarterback. You think the Browns wouldn't have loved to have Alex Smith as their quarterback instead of trying their best with Deshaun Kaiser and all the guys they were throwing out this year?
I think most teams would be very happy to have Alex Smith. I give him a hard time, and I do think he is the reason you win and the reason you lose for a lot of games. Unfortunately, he just doesn't make that play at the end of the game. You just do something. He's got to take some chance. I did like seeing him take that one shot with the deep ball that the guy dropped, the very last play of the game. I thought it was a great play. I was like, hey, look, Alex Smith is trying to make a play. It's the only way you're going to win this game is if he tries to do something above average. Just above average. That's all he's got to be. Just something. A little play has just got to go a little bit above average.
Yeah, not the whole time. Just like a couple of plays. Just got to make something happen.
And that's it. That's the whole game. It feels like so simple, but with a team that has that much talent and that much experience and just looks so comfortable throughout the entire regular season. Yeah, there's going to be ups. Yeah, there's going to be downs. But they They just seem solid, and they had every position. But unfortunately, their season is coming to an end. The season has now come to an end in college football as well. We have the first time ever winners of that's right. Alabama won again. You just rewrite no you can't even rewrite the article. It's the same thing. It happens all the time. It didn't happen last year, but here we go, back in the same pattern. Alabama getting it done at the end of the game. Don't ever count them out. They're in every game, regardless of the score, regardless of the start, and apparently regardless of the quarterback. What happened in this game? Is this coaching? Is this new guy, the new quarterback? Who I don't even know his name. What happened?
Well, you have to definitely give Saban credit because in college he's the one that picks all the players. He gets he does the heavy lifting on the recruiting. He gets them there. He coaches them. He gets them to the championship game a whole bunch of times, and they've won the championship a whole bunch of times. But oh man, making that move, it wasn't like this was one of these other college quarterback situations where
like Ohio State,
you got your 1A, your 1B, and you've kind of been flip-flopping all year, and everybody kind of gets a chance. This guy didn't play in any meaningful game. The only time he got in, I mean, it was like in college basketball, like the walk-on situation where it's, you're up 30 points and there's 30 seconds left, so you throw him in there to finish out the game. I'm amazed that he went in there and just got the job done.
Just got the W. No big deal. National championship, first debut.
Threw the game-winning 46-yard touchdown, and like you said, he wasn't great the whole time. He made some big mistakes, but he was just great for a handful of plays that just made it work, made it happen.
Look, sometimes you don't have a very good chance at winning, so you got to take even more chances to get the win. If that makes any sense to anybody, good. I don't know how else to explain it. But I'm not a huge college football guy. I will ask you this though. Do you think they got it right? Because I think they got it right. It looks to me like Alabama was the best football team in the country this year. And I feel like they proved it. Did they deserve the chance to get it? I know that 4 seed was questionable and debated by a lot of people, but they got in and they got the job done. And if you ask me, that's good enough for me. So I think they got it right. But do you think they got it right? Should Alabama have even been in? And were they the best team in the country?
I think so. I think until we go to an 8-team playoff structure, this is going to continue to happen where you're arguing over 4, 5, 6, and this is just what we have to deal with. This is still better than the BCS for only 2, because with 2, Alabama doesn't get in, but clearly they were able to beat the teams that were slotted as better than them and proved it out on the field. And I think that's the way that it should be, not by computers, not by people talking about it. Go in, play football, see who wins, and then you're going to.
So I think we're year 3 of the college playoff? 2? 3?
3 or 4.
3 or 4? Anyways, the past 2 years, as far as I remember, 2 great games. So in terms of the entertainment value, not only are they getting an extra week out of all this and an extra game, they're getting a great game. This seems like a good pattern right now. It's the past 2 years, it did feel like that March Madness basketball. We don't know what's going to happen. And the fact that Saban pulls the quarterback at halftime, now we really will never know what's going to happen. So I will advocate that this was a good decision. I like the playoff. Expanding it's not the worst idea, but I am happy that they at least have a playoff. And it feels like they're getting these teams right.
One thing to add as well, because I know we do a lot of complaining. One thing that they got right is in the past they were putting the 2 semifinal games on New Year's Eve, which we talked about and we definitely complained about because it was awful. Because you're always on New Year's Eve, you're with a bunch of people. Not everyone is necessarily a sports fan, so you either got to try to sneak kind of watch the game. You don't really get to watch it, or you feel like you're kind of asking someone like, hey, is it okay if we put football on? And you got a bunch of people that are like, well, no, not really. We want to watch, not even like you're not even at midnight yet for the ball drop, but you want to watch like all that festivities. It's understood. That's a one time a year thing. This year made the smart move, moved it to New Year's Day. Everybody woke up all hungover, and then looked at the schedule and said, oh, perfect, there's football on. I got an excuse to just stay in the house, drink some beers, eat some comfort food and just watch football, and it's just a way better. In the past years, I didn't even really get to watch the semifinal games. I watched both of them this year.
I only watched most of the semifinals and then the ending of the final game. I was tuning in and off, but I don't know. College football still just feels like amateur football to me, but it is exciting to watch. It was a fun ending, and I guess all in all, it didn't disappoint. And that's for the second year in a row, so they're making a believer out of me, even if I am skeptic of the level of play or the quality of play.
What would you need college football to do to make you more interested?
I guess I really just need a dog in the fight like that I really care about, and I don't want to bandwagon hop onto anything like that. But the hard thing is I really feel like every year there's only like maybe 10 teams that are truly competing for this. I don't feel like there's newcomers approaching these conferences and suddenly making noise in these conferences, and it's just the same teams every year. So without like just picking one of those teams and suddenly becoming a fan of those teams, I don't really feel like I can have an outsider or a consistent team without picking one of those.
Couldn't you make the argument that it's similar for college basketball?
Yes, but there's so many more teams though, so that you can kind of almost pick different teams in each bracket. Like there's 4 brackets. You can kind of pick one from each section.
No, but I just mean that in the final, you have your blue bloods for a reason because.
Well, no, I don't think that's the case. I always feel like one of the Final Four teams wasn't supposed to be there or didn't plan on being there. Our dreaded rival UConn, how many times have they made some noise and gotten there? They weren't supposed to be there. Now it feels like they should be there because they've done it a couple of times. Shaka Smart with VCU, and then now with Texas. I mean, they don't feel like they belong there, but he's made it to the Final Four before.
Oh, I'm saying that it doesn't happen, and I guess with just football, it's just only the top of the top. So it's a little different, and it's by the ranking. So if you were to go by the ranking, you would never choose these teams. But when you play it on the court, you never know what's going to happen.
And that's just a difference in sports. That's not a. I like the problem I have with it's not like just easily fixed. It's just I just like basketball more than football, and I like the way it works in college basketball a lot more than college football.
I think what you need to do is over the summer start hanging out with people and finding out what college teams they like, and when when it gets to be the fall and they say, hey, we're going to whatever bar to go watch the game, you just kind of you tag along and see if it just kind of catches on.
No. You see, I like regular football so much more, and I know I just complained that there's no good quarterbacks and the referees don't know what they're doing. But when I watch the Patriots play, man, it is so high quality football most of the time, if not all the time. And I just want it to be like that.
That's the apex of football right there.
I know, but I see college
You're
stuff.
Spoiled.
I see college stuff with the gimmicks and the fake plays, and it's cool, exciting. But it just feels amateur to me.
It is amateur. They don't get paid.
Well, maybe that's a whole other argument. We're not going to get in there. But I will say it is the playoff is the right decision. It's worked a couple years in a row right now. I'm excited to see what it does going forward. I think we can all agree on that. What we may not agree on is who is it? University of Florida. Who declared themselves the national champs that went undefeated this year?
University of Central Florida.
University of Central Florida. Congratulations. They have declared themselves the national champs. Apparently they had 0 losses. They did not make is it a tournament? I don't know, whatever the Final Four thing you want to call it for college football.
College playoff.
College playoff. They didn't make it to that. It sounds like they had a great year and finished pretty strong with no blemishes and are confident enough to declare themselves the true national champion. Now, I don't really care about this, and maybe you do or maybe you don't, but they didn't lose. What do you think? You got a problem with this? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
I think this is awesome. It's just I don't even know exactly what the word for it is, but just you guys want to go over there and have your quote college playoff? You know what? All those teams, they lost to somebody. We didn't lose to anybody. You know what? We're the champion. How do you like that?
Does this cause
some background?
Does this fix or cause more problems? I can't tell. Like, are they creating more chaos with this, or are they solving more? Like, Without a
Oh, I
question, we didn't
mean,
lose. We're the champs. That's it.
it's more of a cute thing, but I mean they're taking it pretty seriously. The coaches are getting the like it's as if they won the national championship, like for real, for real. They're getting those bonuses. Like they're going all the way with this. So literally they're costing themselves money they didn't need to cost themselves with. This isn't just like the coach said this. This is an institutional thing. And I mean, to be fair, they played Auburn in the Peach Bowl, beat them by a touchdown. So they beat Auburn. Auburn beat not just Alabama, they also beat Georgia. So I mean, all right, not crazy.
All right. So you start off the year. What is the goal of the year? Don't lose. Win every game. So it's really hard for me to say that hey guys, I know we checked every box off on our to-do list this year, but we're still not truly national champions. We didn't get in. That's rough. This is a tough scenario, and I totally get it. But I have no problem with them awarding themselves, recognizing themselves as this. It's fine. It's a perfect year. They didn't lose this year. They accomplished everything they wanted to accomplish. I don't think they could have done what else could they have done differently? Whether they got to beat teams by more to get in?
I don't even think that would have worked. It was because they didn't play anyone super tough.
All right. Well, that's kind of
that was their issue.
Oh, I mean it is an
but
issue.
That's their conference. Their conference is a super tough conference, so that's kind of part of it.
I don't know what.
So I was fine with them being left out of the college playoff, but I still think it's fun that they're just going with it. So hey, you know what? No, we're the champions.
Hey, it's fun. It's fun, but I suppose. Do you think they'll be making schedule changes going into next year, or do you think they are thriving or striving to have this sort of year happen over and over again?
I don't know if you can make changes that quickly, and there's just all these politics that go with the scheduling. It's a lot. I think it's easier in college basketball, where there's just more games where you only have so many, non-conference games. Would you have one or two? So I don't think you have an opportunity to kind of move around on that too much.
Well, it'll be interesting going forward. But congratulations, University of Central Florida. You won every game, man. Congrats.
National champions.
You got recognized on the little column A, little column B podcast. I mean, you made it, man.
That's a big time.
Yeah.
Nationwide podcast.
But that is fun. I like it. I like it. That's all good stuff. A little crazy, but I think 2018 is going to be full of sort of crazy things. In San Diego, California right now, where we just made a major law change, and this is monumental if you ask me. This is a big change. The legalization of marijuana is a big deal. Now there's a couple. I'm not gonna get into the political sides of it. There's just a couple little events I want to talk about. First of all, Coachella just announced their lineup, huge, massive lineup. Beyonce's coming back. I also saw with a memo within Coachella that even though marijuana is now legal in California, they are still going to prevent you from having it within the event. I mean, I get it, and I don't. Sure, it can be abused, but just sell it like alcohol. At this point, it's recognized as the same level of substance. So maybe they're just not ready for it this year. We'll see what happens next year. But what do you think about that? Are they in the wrong? Because I really don't have a problem with it, but I also see everyone else's argument of why not. Who's in the wrong here?
It seems legalized, and now you're continuing to say no, you can't have it at music festivals. I feel like music festival is like where the most marijuana is smoked. So I don't think this is going to stop people from doing it, especially now with it being legalized. Are you able to buy it from a store?
Yeah, so you can walk into any store right now, but what I'm saying is they need to have a store within the festival. That's what they need. Or even if they got to have a designated area, just like they have the alcohol tents and the you must be 21 and up and no drinks can leave beyond this point. Smoke certainly travels, but you're also outside. Like that's for me, I see even less reason to deny this because inside, I get it. Smoke is gonna go there, and whether you're in the smoking section or the non-smoking section, if you're all under the same roof, you're in the smoking section.
did they specify the marijuana part, or did they specify the smoking part? Because that was what I was wondering. Was this was this a marijuana issue, or a more of a, like you said, smoke travels, and just kind of a, hey, there's going to be a bunch of people that aren't smoking, and whether it's cigarettes or marijuana, like, we just want to kind of avoid that.
To my understanding, it was viewed as just a substance they weren't prepared to monitor. Alcohol is monitored to the best they can. I imagine, much like bartenders, they would have whatever bud tender or whoever is distributing it there monitoring the intake of it. Hey, like, look, this is a lot, this is that. I don't know nearly enough about the product. I just thought it was very interesting that, here everyone's, up in joy about the legalization of it, and what's really changed here. Are we this seems
I
like
wonder if that has anything to do with an insurance issue. Because I know if you have an event and you're serving alcohol, you have to, have a liquor license, and there's some sort of waiver, and you are responsible if someone gets intoxicated and does something stupid or whatever happens, or there's an accident. You're responsible. So I'm wondering if for that it's okay. This is a standard festival. This is a standard insurance we get. Now for marijuana, it's like, ooh, this is all new. It's only a state law. It's not a federal law. So maybe, the big insurance companies that are dealing in multiple states, they're kind of looking at it like, ooh, yeah, we can't really help you out there. So maybe it's just like a simple insurance issue more than something they've put a lot of thought into. It's just purely money.
Well, we'll see going forward. I thought it was a fascinating thing. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but we'll see going forward. Coachella has another great lineup. It's a very popular festival. I would still say it's probably the most popular of all of them. I've yet to attend, but maybe somewhere in the future I will.
Who is the headliner this year?
Beyonce is the big one, which is kind of funny because they used Beyonce's name 2 years in a row. Last year she was a headliner, and they sold out immediately. Coachella's already sold out. It's gone. There's nothing left. But then she ended up getting pregnant, and I think originally they thought that she was going to be able to be kind of partial pregnant or whatever, like halfway through it, and still be able to perform. Ended up, I guess, going a little bit farther along and wasn't able to do it, so they brought her back this year, and sure enough, she's sold out again. I believe Eminem is another headliner. He's going to be headlining a lot of festivals this year. Big attractions. Good for Beyonce. I think we all kind of knew she was going to be a lock for this year because she wasn't able to do last year. But
yeah.
That's just the power of Beyonce, man. Just a lot of pull.
Oh yeah, that does not surprise me.
But you know what? Let's talk some money here. We talked on the previous podcast about Twitch allowing amateurs, much like us, to, I don't know, we're professionals. Whatever, we do this enough. whatever level you want to give us, allowing us to broadcast on D-League or G-League games for the developmental league for the NBA. And anybody can stream and announce the games alongside. So it could be a big break for some of us. It could be a big break for us or anyone else, or maybe a different language or something like that. Apparently announcing is a good way in. If you start off as a head coach and then you, I don't know, say take 8-9 years break in the booth and then get hired by the Raiders for 10 years, $100 million. Yeah, that sounds all right with me. I can get on board with that. John Gruden is now being rewarded for, I guess, not being a coach for so long and just doing announcing games on Monday Night Football once a week, is now being rewarded a contract of 10 years, $100 million to, what are they, Las Vegas Raiders? I don't even know what they are right now.
I think it's 2 more years, and then they'll be going to Vegas.
I mean, is this what we got? Is this our in right now? Like, do we need to continue doing the podcast so that maybe one day we'll get a 10-year contract for $100 million?
Well, I think he was a coach, and then was the announcer, and then was the coach. So I think we got to be the coach first.
All right. Well, that was like 8 years ago.
It's a long time ago. I don't think it's going to work.
It's too long of a contract. When has this contract ever worked out? When has any 10-year and any 5-year plus contract ever worked out?
I'm trying to think. They don't get thrown out very often.
No, every single one of them was a disaster. The pool host one was terrible. That just looks so dated and like an awful decision, such a money grab at the time. And I don't blame I don't blame Gruden for taking it. I don't think he had any interest in coaching. I think they literally made him an offer he couldn't say no to.
I mean, I just think anytime that someone's making, he's going to make $2.5 million more than Bill Belichick makes. And I think it's not even close to an argument that Bill Belichick is the best coach in the NFL right now.
So what do you want to do? You want to pay Belichick more, or do you not want this contract to exist for Gruden? Because if you ask me, this has done nothing but help Belichick.
If this is what it is, like this doesn't do anything to affect your cap. Why are you not throwing more money at coaches that have had success in the past 8 to 9 years? Gruden, he won did well with Oakland. He won, then he won the Super Bowl, but then after that he's basically a 500 coach. And when you are an NFL coach, from what I've read and the interviews I've seen, you are just absolutely completely locked in on football pretty much all the time. You're up early in the morning, you're sleeping in your office. It's really tough on marriages. It's hard to be a father. It's super, super difficult to do. And it's one of those, once you stop and you kind of see like, oh, like, that was kind of weird. Like, not many other people work like that. A lot of, other people are kind of, on the weekends, you sleep in, you kind of casual, you hang out, you watch football, or you watch basketball, you just kind of hang out. To then go back to that routine of, like, no fun, just football all the time, focus. And that's going to be really hard to do. Even though it's just a couple of years. I mean, Sean Payton, I feel like he struggled. He just had that 1 year suspension. And this is unbelievable.
It's got to be hard. So, like you said, he tasted the good life, if you ask me. The coaching sounds like hell. Like, I'll do it for $100 million, but man, it's worth that. I'll be honest. Like, it can't be a fun lifestyle. Like you said, there's a lot of responsibility. There's so many moving parts, and it's nonstop. And if every day off you take, I guarantee someone else is working harder. There's no breaks in this. I don't think you get any breathing room as a coach. Not to mention the loyalty to this. It means nothing. These teams don't care. You're the first one to blame, and there it all goes.
Constantly on the hot seat. You're responsible for everything.
I mean, I can't describe it as a very stable job, even for the best.
Oh, no.
You have one bad year, maybe 2 bad years. That's it. Unless you're unless you're Cincinnati and you're Marvin Lewis, then you're safe all the time. You know what? Can we talk about that? I think it was week 8, and we talked about it. They kind of announced then, like halfway through the year, that they're going to let Marvin Lewis finish the year. It's not going to be this year. It's we're going to move on from you. We're not going to continue with this. Not that you've done anything wrong or anything like that. It's just it's not working. It's time for a change. And he felt like he was ready for a change, and they felt like they were ready to let go of him. And then what happened? Like 2 weeks ago, I hear that he got a contract extension.
Yeah, they signed an extension.
Who does that? I know I can't disagree with it entirely. I mean, I don't dislike Marvin Lewis, but everything I said that was wrong with Andy Reid, times that by 2, and that's Marvin Lewis. It's not even almost to the finals. It's almost the playoffs for Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree there. I think it's just tricky because the teams that have success don't have a lot of turnover, but then it's chicken or the egg thing. Well, is the guy there for a long time because he's really good, or are they good because he's there for a long time? It's hard to figure out which one it is with each individual case.
All right. Well, I'll ask you: do you think it's Marvin Lewis, or do you think it's the team, or do you think it's injuries? What happened this year? Why did Cincinnati repeat the same year again of being very amateur, not bad, not great, and not in the playoffs?
I think it's Marvin Lewis is a okay, not great coach, and I think that Andy Dalton is an okay, not great quarterback.
So they're the perfect fit. Two amateur.
They get okay, not great results.
Yeah. So you gotta change one of those things. I think we can agree on that. Whether it's the coach or the quarterback, something's got to give. There's got to be either a great coach.
Again, it goes back to that. It's easy to say, yeah, you got to get rid of him, but then you got to say, well, who are you going to get instead?
You're right. So I think this is what happened. Is like you said, they were thinking about getting rid of him, and they were like, who are we going to replace him? Who's going to want to come in and do this? And if that list has no names on it, or the names that are on it you're not happy with, that means, and to me, that means you need to make a change with your roster. You need to have something appealing that someone's going to come in and want to work with. Somebody's going to come in and want to groom. Somebody's going to come in and want to coach. So if you ask me, that's where the flag is. It's Andy Dalton. You got to get rid of him. That's got to be the problem. And if it's not him, it's the running backs. It's whoever. It's whatever they thought was going to happen this year. They got to redo the roster so that it'll either become more appealing for a future coach that will want to come in and coach, or for something that Marvin Lewis can actually do something with.
I think it's really easy to say that, but it's really hard to do that in practice.
Andy Dalton for me is not a keeper quarterback. There's a lot of guys I would rather over him. I would much rather Alex Smith over him. Much rather Alex Smith over him.
Okay, well, Alex Smith might be available.
All right, well, let's go down some lists. I'd rather Kirk Cousins over him.
I think Kirk Cousins is going to be available, but he's going to be really expensive. But okay.
It's I'll be honest, it's a split decision for me with Cutler, and Cutler's terrible.
No, I'd definitely take
You're taking.
I'd definitely take Dalton over Cutler. Cutler's done.
All right, I'll take.
He didn't even want to play this year.
I'll take Case Keenum over Andy Dalton.
Oh, Keenum had a great year. I'm trying to still figure out if this is for real or not.
I'll take Nick Foles over him.
He hasn't been very this has been the best year of his career. He's getting older now.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be some value to being a backup. At least studying so many games and so many films behind a lot of good quarterbacks. If you ask me, with some really solid coaching job and a lot of consistent coaching. So there has to be some benefit to all that. I mean, who else will I take? I'll take Garoppolo over him. I'll take Brissett over him.
Oh well, of course. Oh, come on.
What do you mean? Come on? No, these are real options right now.
He's not. San Francisco is going to pay him so much money. They're not letting him go anywhere. There's no way.
I don't think they should. But if I was Cincinnati, I could have offered that same pick, and Garoppolo could have been mine.
Well, it all looks good in hindsight now, but I don't think the Patriots would trade him to the AFC. They traded him basically as far away. The only farther way they could have traded him to was Seattle.
Yeah,
or the new London team, maybe. I don't even know. I'm not sure which is farther away.
I'm just Andy Dalton is he's living the Gruden lifestyle right now, man. All right, he's living large, getting paid, starting every game, and it doesn't feel like there's zero. He can't lose anything. There's no risk. If
I remember correctly from Hard Knocks, his wife is super hot. So he's got that going for him.
I'm not saying he's like a bad guy, like I'm against him. I just don't think he's very good at his job. And it's about time that somebody says something and somebody does something about that. Bring another guy that challenges him. Bring in something. Light a fire under his ass. Get him out of there. Get him going. One or the other.
You hear that, Andy Dalton? Will says he doesn't like you. That you got to be better at football. That he's coming for your job personally. He's coming to camp. Will Lemonos versus Andy Dalton.
He's just on cruise control, man. He's just along for the ride.
Ooh, I like this. I like this a lot. We could definitely. This is recorded. This is going to be out in the internet. Oh man, we could definitely find this in a year if he does really well. Oh man, this will be awesome.
Like there's certain guys in the NFL who are borderline. If you ask me, they've gotten more than enough opportunities. He's certainly one of them. Matt Stafford for me is a close second. And I know he just got paid, and I would still take Matt Stafford over him. But I mean, something's got to give at some point. I know it's Detroit. It's not exactly the greatest football organization, and they have been constantly rebuilding. But I mean, I know Megatron left, and that was a big loss. But get something done. You're getting paid like you're the top guy. You were the highest paid quarterback this year, and you didn't look like it. I just got hot takes on guys today. What can I say?
Yeah, you do. Ooh, it's piping hot.
Nobody's gonna remember this next year. All right, come March, I'll be drafting all these guys on my fantasy team. They're gonna be late round steals. But
yeah, pretty much.
Speaking about just going along for the ride, we've talked Waze before, the great GPS app that has now become a rideshare app, and they completed their first trial, or is it just in San Francisco? Like, well, where is this going on? I always assume it's out in San Francisco. Waze has done their first rideshare, and that's a big deal.
This came out of nowhere. Did you know that this was happening?
I had no idea that they were going to suddenly offer the same services, to my understanding, as Uber and Lyft, and with benefits though, because if you ask me, Waze is the best GPS app you can use, especially in high traffic areas and high volume areas with a bunch of users. It doesn't do so great in the middle of nowhere, but if you're in the middle of nowhere, what do you care about traffic, you know?
I pretty much. I mean, I take those ride sharing apps pretty infrequently, but it seems like whenever I'm in there, like over 50% of them have Waze running on their phone anyway, and I'm wondering if they're gonna poach a bunch of their business.
I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't know what the rates are. I don't know what they're offering. I don't even know if it's available in every country yet, or every state or every county, whatever. Whatever. I just know it's a very small term, to my understanding of what I looked up. I couldn't find a lot of information on it. It sounds like they just said, "Hey, let's try this now, and if it
Worry
catches,
about the rest later.
yeah, I don't know. It didn't really feel like they had much of a plan going in, or if they did, it didn't hit me. Maybe I'm not the target market. I probably should be, but
I would think you would be. You drive.
it did
If
not
it,
did not reach me. I did not see any marketing. I feel like
and I'm thinking that you're not super loyal. Where if Waze was like, "Hey, we'll pay you more than these guys are going to pay you," you would jump ship in a heartbeat.
yeah. Well, even as a forget a driver, even as a user, I think they could safely say, "Hey, we'll get you there faster," and I don't think that like that would be unethical of them to offer. I do truly believe it's the faster way.
Do you think that Waze, especially if they kind of keep going in this direction, if there'll be some way that if you have your Uber app running, you can't open Waze? So like it'll force you like, hey, if you want to use Waze, you got to use our ride sharing app. Do you think it would go to that level?
Maybe. I mean, it kind of already has. Uber, the driver app right now, they all right, they don't require you to use their internal map, but they recommend it. And if you try to use, say, Google Maps or Waze within the Uber app, it's so much slower. And the Apple thing just came out that they're slowing down old iPhones. If you ask me, that's what they're doing with this right now. Uber's already feels like slowing down the Google Maps and the Waze maps and are forcing you to use their Uber apps or Uber map or whatever it is within the app. And if you ask me, it's very suspect as some of the directions you go with it. It feels like you'll go out of the way, especially when it's the ride share, where it's not the Lyft line or the Uber pool. The Uber pool. It feels like we weren't really supposed to go this way, but now that we kind of did, now we're going to pick up somebody else that was very unnecessary. Like we could have gone the direct way.
Mm-hmm.
So I already kind of have. I'm already very suspect of the Uber app, at least in the past when I was driving. The problem, I don't know. I don't know where this is gonna go, but I like Waze. I am a big fan of them. So if they can make some decisions going forward, that can make them competitive and give me a reason to use them over somebody else, I'll definitely be giving them a shot.
I was just surprised that I hadn't heard anything about it. That just seems like something just somewhere along the lines you or I would have just heard rumblings about, and it wasn't until I actually saw it on Twitter where someone had posted saying, "Hey, just did the Waze, drive share or whatever they're calling it for the first time. Drove a complete stranger and everything went fine." Like, wait, what? What's going on now? That's Waze doing this? Ooh, this is interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a popular app. I think a lot of people are very familiar with it at this point. I think it's almost second nature to Google Maps or whatever the iPhone apps is. It's not I don't know, iMap. It's probably just iMaps. I don't know. I don't do anything Apple. But let's see. Going forward here. Should be a good 2018 year. The podcast is growing. Like I said, we got new marketing, new website. I'm with a new company for real estate. It's called Sell State Next Gen Realty. Very excited to do that. The website Sold by Will is now done. You can search all the San Diego properties that are for sale, for rent, pending, whatever sort of things you need to look up. You're going to have access to all of that by just going to the site. No subscription necessary, no login. If you want to subscribe to some of the newsletters, feel free to do that. You can also do that on the website. www.soldbywill.com. Check that out for all your San Diego real estate needs. 2018 is going to be a big year, not only just in real estate, but a big year for the podcast. We are going to be back on YouTube. I'm going to do my best to break down
Not
each
get us kicked off?
Well, that's certainly the first goal. I have been reading up on articles on how not to get flagged on YouTube, and it's a lot harder than you think. If you notice, we had 0 sound bites today. I got to find out how we can make those work. I don't know whether I need to write permission in the description or what, or if we just can't use them at all. But to my understanding, those are kind of what's flagging us every time. It shouldn't be the intro or outro music, seeing how I don't think he has any copyright on it. It's just a free... It was a free download on SoundCloud, so if it's free on SoundCloud, I got a hard time thinking like he's gonna start charging for this. However, we'll see going forward. But the cool thing about YouTube is not only will you be able to do that, but I'm gonna try and post the topics within the. I'm gonna try and post the times that each topic starts. So if you are just interested during a certain section, while we do wish that you listen to the whole entire podcast, you can listen to little bits and pieces at a time now, going forward.
Pick what you like.
Pick what you like. If you only want to hear us talk, if you didn't want to hear us talk any sports and you only want to hear us talk about Waze or other crazy social media, pop culture stuff, you will be able to do that in 2018 going forward. Big announcements. Big stuff. A lot more work. A lot of interns working here. They're not going to be interns much longer. They're going to be full-time guys.
You're going to have to hire them full-time, benefits. Yeah, let us know, if you do listen to a certain part and you like it or you don't like it, definitely give us some feedback. We can try to do more or less of that.
In 2018, this will be the year of the guests, too. We are going to be looking for more guest features, specifically interviews around topics that we're less familiar with, but we think you will value and like to listen to. If you're interested in that, again, please feel free to reach out, or if you think you know somebody who would be perfect for this or would just enjoy jumping on the podcast with us, please let us know. Zach's certainly running out of family members, so we're how many more we got left? We already had everyone on. Have we had Nate on?
No, we just had Abby on.
All right, well, we only got Nate left, so the list is very short. Let's see. Other little tidbits here. 2018. Maybe do you have any New Year's resolutions? We didn't really do that going into, at least ending on the year.
I'm just rolling over my ones from last year. I didn't quite get them all done.
You didn't get them all done? You need another year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need another year to drink less, work out more, and to date a supermodel.
Yeah, specifically a supermodel. Okay. So if you were currently dating, say, somebody not a supermodel, and she asked you what your New Year's resolutions were, are you still going to repeat that one, or are you going to hold on to this?
Oh, I'm very goal-oriented. I don't just give up on goals just because obstacles get in my way.
Yes, now she's an obstacle. Yes, this is going to go well. I can tell already.
Maybe this is why I'm not dating a supermodel.
Hey, you're dedicated. What can I say? You're a
goal-oriented.
Goal-oriented. Well, we are goal-oriented too. I think Zach mentioned earlier that the goal is you want 1,000 listens? 1,000 listens on one podcast?
That's what I was thinking. That seems doable, right? And that's a stretch.
I don't see why we can't do that.
I just want that because that way when people ask me, because that seems to be one of the first questions that I get asked. Oh, you got a podcast? Oh, how many listeners do you have? And then right now, usually the joke is dozens of listeners. But if we get to 1,000, then I'll be able to just casually be like, yeah, thousands of people listen to it, and it won't be a lot.
Well, I think just getting on more media platforms alone will help us. I think YouTube's going to be a big thing. We're going to be on Google Play by this year. We're going to be on iTunes again. We're going to be on everything. If you haven't heard of us, we're Little Column A, Little Column B. I'm Will Levinos, my co-host Zach Bishop. We're not going away. 2018 is our year. Anything else you want to add today? I know we're cutting it a little short today. Kind of a slow time of year.
2018 is going to be a huge year. I agree. That's what I got for you.
Big.
For us, for the listeners, if you listen to Little Column A or Little Column B, your life is going to be better in 2018. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get to that 1,000 listeners.
1,000 listens. All right, well, this is the first one of the new year, so if one dedicated person wants to listen to us 1,000 times, we will thank you. We'll be back. We'll be back next week with hopefully more topics and a little bit better preparedness. We'll be back.